We have a system that legalizes and enables the harm to come in. It doesn't stand on our side to stop the harm. It's been designed to actually enable the harm to occur. So when Cliff talks about the fact that people come up to him and say, well, the regulatory system is broken, because it won't protect us from these harms. The fact is the regulatory system isn't broken, it's working perfectly. It's working perfectly because it was never intended to protect health, safety, and welfare. It was intended to be a barrier between you and your own governmental system. It's intended to legalize harms. When a state agency writes a permit allowing a corporation to put 100 parts of benzene into the waterways, they are legalizing the harm. When they permit a frack well, they are legalizing the harm. Permits and regulations are not about stopping harms, they're about legalizing the harm to occur. So the question is, what do you do when you're stuck in a system that doesn't recognize your own authority to actually make decisions at the local level to stop that which is harming you? And not just stop what's harming you, but what's actually cooking the planet. Because whenever a new frack well goes in, whatever comes out of that frack well is guaranteed to be combusted. That's the purpose of pulling it out of the ground, is to combust it. And if we combust more fossil fuels, we are, of course, now at the very edge of the point of no return in terms of global change, global climate change, global warming, and the types of changes that brings. And so we really have to ask ourselves whether we're prepared to do a new kind of activism. And that new kind of activism first breached here in Lafayette. But that new kind of activism is about not turning to the existing institutions for a remedy. Understanding that those institutions are DNA'd to prevent you from obtaining a remedy through them. That not living in a democracy means actually grokking that understanding, taking it to heart, and saying, if we don't live in a democracy, why are we turning to the same political institutions to help us get out of what they've created in the first place? Right? That's the key. And what does that new activism look like? Because it doesn't look like Facebook likes. And it doesn't look like signing petitions. And it doesn't look like the kinds of shit that we've been doing the past 40 years about begging and pleading regulatory agencies to do the right thing. Or writing letters to Congress urging them to do something else. What does the new activism look like? And what's exciting is here, as much as it sucks, you're going to have an opportunity to pioneer that, right? Because you've been in a war already, the last, what Cliff recounted, that's a war. You're in a war zone. You just haven't had to be on the exact front lines yet, receiving that fire, that cannon fire that other places have been in. You've had temporary reprieves, which you guys struggled mightily to get into place in the first place. But you're about ready to be drilled. You're about ready to be drilled. It's coming. Nobody knows quite when, but it's coming. And the question is, what are you going to do about that? What does that new activism look like?